everybody. So today I have a special guest. Her name is Olga Green, and Olga is a teacher for Practical Consciousness School. Practical Consciousness School was founded by Estonian Wisdom teacher Ingvar Vilido. This teacher is based on the wisdom of ancient Siddha Yoga masters from south of India. And Olga has been studying the topic of emotions for many years, and now she shares this knowledge and experience and how to apply these technologies of releasing these emotions by teaching practical consciousness courses 1 and 2. She's also been deeply studying Babaji Kriya Yoga, taking numerous pilgrimages to India and studying how to bring human potential to the highest level. Welcome to the show, Olga.
Thank you, Christina, and thank you for inviting me. I'm very happy to be here.
Absolutely. So for folks listening, I know that this is the OCD Whisperer show. And so what this episode is about that's a little different than maybe my normal episodes is that when Olga and I met and we started talking, she started talking a lot about consciousness, about intuition, about feelings, gut instincts. And I thought, how interesting is this? Because so many of folks with OCD and anxiety issues will often say things like, well, we hear things like follow your gut or what's your intuitive sense about things? And folks with anxiety and OCD often will say, oh my gosh, I have no idea because I think I'm following my gut. I think I'm following my intuition, but oftentimes it's their anxiety, it's their fear. So I thought this would be such a cool conversation to have with you, Olga, to talk a little bit about what is an intuition, what is a gut feeling or emotion, just what is that, especially from sounds like the landscape of this yoga perspective. And I know it's a big question, but if you can just kind of introduce us to how do you look at things from that perspective and that lens? What's the difference between a feeling versus a gut or intuition? How would somebody even know like where to start, what those things are?
Thank you, Christina. It's very, very fascinating topic. And I have been interested to research this topic for many years. Even before I became a teacher, even before I became a yogi, I use those forms of expressions very loosely. Oh, my intuition says this, or my gut feeling says that, but the end result wasn't what I expected. Mm-hmm. So I was researching something wrong with that, something wrong with me, or something wrong with me using intuition or trusting my gut feelings. Then I started to study practical consciousness technologies that I'm teaching right now to people. And it belongs to Practical Consciousness School. And the course 1 and 2, we dedicate to emotions, to clarity, how we build inside, how our inner world built inside us, because we are not only just physical body. We have vitality, we have energies, we have chakras, which is the vital body. We have memory, we have imaginations. We have thoughts. This is the vital mental body, the next level. So the human body, this is what I learned and helped me a lot to get the clarity in life. We are built like Russian matryoshka. We're not just a physical body. We have other bodies inside the physical body. That gives me a lot of freedom to research more and get clarity on this topic. So, and I actually Googled yesterday, what is gut feelings? And it gives me everything. It's given me part of explanation. They give me everything like gut feelings is gut feeling is physical body sensation, gut feeling is anxiety, and gut feeling is intuition, all in one. But from practical consciousness study, this is all belongs to the different levels of the bodies. For example, physical body sensation, like we have something inside the stomach, belongs to the physical body. When we're talking about intuition, in a practical consciousness school, we study that intuition belongs to consciousness. It is a quality of consciousness. So this is the real knowledge, undescribed knowledge that coming from consciousness. We can call that intuition. Another expression of gut feelings like anxiety, but everybody knows anxiety is a simple emotion. So after I study the 5-body system that I teach at my course 1 and 2, Practical Consciousness, this is the book from the course, everything became easier, that the gut feelings could be coming from consciousness, which is the best way to receive information. Gut feelings could belong to the vital body, which is emotion. It's anxiety or a fear, or a gut feelings simply like physical body manifestation toward emotion. So every time when we experience something unknown, we cannot describe, we don't have a rational explanation, people call it gut feelings.
You know, as you're talking, I'm kind of imagining that probably anybody listening right now, one question I might need to ask you to clarify for anybody listening is, well, how do you define consciousness? It's a big one, but how would you say, what do you define it from your school of thought?
Yes, I can talk for hours, and we talk for hours about consciousness. And I have few minutes. I would say consciousness, it's, as I said before, human body is like matryoshka. We have, according to the Siddhist yoga traditions and Kriya yoga and practical consciousness, we use the system of 5 bodies. Physical body, what we can see, vital body is emotions, mental body is thoughts, imagination, then next level is consciousness. Consciousness practically is a space, but everybody knows what consciousness, because when a human body, when a person is unconscious like this, everybody knows that person is sick, something wrong with the person, this person is unconscious. So we know we have consciousness, but we don't know how to explain it because it's not tangible. It's, you know, it's everywhere, it's a space. But what we study in practical consciousness school, we learn 7 qualities of consciousness. We learn the tools, how to use consciousness. And the first tool of consciousness, the first quality of consciousness is awareness or noticing. Every time when we notice something, like, do you notice a glass in my hand? You notice that, you use the awareness, you're already using consciousness. This is how we determine what consciousness is. Then we have another, if you want to explain, if you have time, I can explain you more about, because we're talking about 7 qualities of consciousness. The first quality of consciousness is awareness, which is noticing. Again, every time when we notice something, when we use our focus, attention, it's all synonymous. We use consciousness. That means we are conscious. The second quality of consciousness is differentiating. So we go deeper to understand. For example, if you look at the glass, you notice that now you're in different, you go deeper, you see where is a clear water and where is a big thick glass. This is the second quality of consciousness you're using. The next quality of consciousness, which we use every day, is understanding. So like, you know, something like comes like the aha, but not big aha moment, because I will talk about this later. It's understanding, oh, this is a glass of water. It has water in it. It's like comprehending something is the next quality of consciousness. The next quality is deepening. In order to get more information about object, we go deeper, we research. Then after that, 3, the most exciting quality of consciousness come, which is intuition. And we already started talking about this, insight and inspiration. Those are quality of consciousness need to be developed. And Practical Consciousness School has a course number 4 and 5 dedicated to using 7 qualities of consciousness and how create flow of life.
Wow. Okay. I mean, I know there's a lot in there and we can go deep into so many directions, but for the purpose of today, because this is kind of newer for anybody listening, can we kind of go back and go a little deeper to understand how, if we say to somebody, you know, to use your gut or use your intuition, what does that actually mean? Like, how would somebody know that they're doing that versus if they're connecting from their anxiety or something, let's say?
Again, I'm talking from the angle of Practical Consciousness School, because we have like whole day, whole course dedicated to the vital body, to the emotional body. This is where emotions get activated. So anxiety activated belongs to the vital body. And sometimes when we have that gut feelings, we have some tension in the vital body. Vital body is like inside the torso. You notice sometimes we have even like the stomach ache or something uncomfortable happening. inside the physical body, that coming from emotion, it's coming from the vital body, influencing physical body, and we have a physical body manifestation. In psychology, you call it, guys, psychosomatic, right?
Yes.
Okay, I'm not a psychologist, I'm asking you for that.
Yes, yes.
Okay, when people sometimes, very, very loosely say, I have a gut feelings, and they start acting according to that feelings. It could be a good way to act, it could be incorrect way to act. And to tell you, I need to tell you a little bit about my intuition as a quality of consciousness. Because it's come from consciousness, it's not coming from the vital body. It has nothing to do with emotions. When, for example, somehow we can calm down the emotions, calm down the thinking process, and just relax and focus into consciousness, that energy, that single burst of energy comes like aha moment. Aha, I need to act. Like, it's, I would say, intuition, like predicting what happened next, predicting the nearest future. This is what intuition, and it comes as a moment. If something like gut feelings come as a sentence, that it coming from the mental or a vital body. Of course, sentence coming from the mental body, but mental body influence vital body. So in that case, if we have a whole sentence, that most likely it's coming from a mentality or a vitality, so-called gut feelings. So for example, everybody had that moment when we had aha moment when we use intuition. It's like second, a moment, and you know what to do, correct?
I mean, I think, yeah, when, for me, I definitely will say when I'm not in a state of anxiety, when I'm kind of more calm, yes, I've definitely certainly had moments where just immediately I'll get that idea or inspiration or clarity of like, oh, I need to do this, or, oh, this needs to be my next step.
In order to have that moment of inspiration, that moment of wisdom from consciousness, obviously, we need to calm ourselves down somehow. We need to slow down emotions. We need to slow down mental process. Just relax into consciousness, and intuition moment will come. That's the best way, the best recipe.
Yeah, what chance? I mean, I think a lot of times people talk about meditation or guided meditations, but practicing or having a practice like that to train yourself to slow down, to be with whatever is, let that kind of angst pass and come and connect to yourself when you're kind of in that calm at baseline state.
And again, Practical Consciousness School, course 1 and 2, what I teach to people, I teach how to recognize the emotions. And beside that, we have techniques how to release negative emotions from our vital body, from our life even, how to release our limiting negative emotions, and they would never come back. We have techniques for that.
I'm sure anybody hearing that right now is going to be like, oh my gosh, what's at least one that you could share with us or something? Is there one you could share with us?
I am not allowed to share techniques because we have courses for that. And the first day, whole day, of course, from 10 in the morning until 6, dedicated to clarity, dedicated how we build inside, what is inside us about our inner world. And what is emotion? Emotion is energy. Yes, I can give you some tricks actually. You know, I remember when I first came to study practical consciousness techniques, the first wow moment for me was when I realized, okay, I find my teaching. I find the right place when my teacher, Ingvar Vilido, explained that emotions are energies. And we can recognize emotions as tensions inside the vital body. I will teach the courses, the vital body, how to recognize even the vital body. It's inside the torso. So every time when we feel tension around the chest, around the stomach area, those are emotions. And at the course, we are using techniques how to release that emotion, that energy from our vital system, completely release. That's the one technique, very simple technique that everybody can use. Recognize the tension inside your vital body, inside your torso, and you put awareness in it. And by recognizing this, you're separating yourself from emotion. Why we become emotion? We become one with the energy of the emotion, right? If we are sad, if we feel the emotion of sadness, we become sad. Our body manifestation becomes sad. Or when we are happy, our body manifestation, we're glowing, we have smile, right? When we are depressed, we have another physical body manifestation. But this is only manifestation. The origin of the emotion is a tension inside the body. If we recognize the tension, we already disconnected from emotion. After that, we can work with that emotion.
Got it. That's beautifully said, actually. And so you gifted me the book of Practical Consciousness, which I have to say, I did start reading it. Yeah, it's very interesting because I just started hitting on that beginning part where they were talking about the difference between a feeling and an emotion, which I'll be honest, I can't say that I've created that distinction before. And as I kind of sat with it, I was like, oh, okay, so we're talking about like a physiological feeling, like that feeling of hungry, right? Versus an emotion where you get this kind of overwhelming response to a situation. Like maybe you're trying to cross the street and a car suddenly is coming really fast or about to turn, and you get that kind of feeling of danger or anxiety, or, oh my God, like in response to that situation, how that's different than when you're having that physiological internal feeling of, let's say, hunger. And so I haven't gotten, I'm actually, continuing to read the book and very interested to learn more, but I do think it's a very fascinating, obviously very layered topic because, I have plenty of people in my practice and in general I talk to who have OCD, have anxiety disorders, and also very much are into some sort of either spiritual path or some faith or something that is in their life where they want to learn and kind of go beyond things and learning, well, how do we do that in a non-anxious way? And so I think even what you just said right now is actually a really powerful tool, right? Which quite often we talk about that in terms of practicing being more mindful or training yourself to become much more mindful and present is starting to notice and bring awareness to situations. So you're not just in this autopilot zone, but you really bring your full conscious, there's that word, awareness to this exact moment and what am I actually feeling and where is it in my body or am I thinking something and where's that coming from? And I know you mentioned a couple of times now that you'll be teaching classes on this. Can you please tell us a little bit, like what, I think you mentioned some classes are coming up in December. So when is that going to happen?
Yes, I'm teaching course 1 and 2 in person in December. It's the first weekend of December. It is December 3rd and 4th, and it's gonna take place in San Francisco in West Portal. It's a beautiful setting. It's a beautiful conference room. We're gonna study it for 2 days, Saturday and Sunday, from 10 in the morning until 6. We have a lunch break, of course. We'll have coffee breaks. It's a beautiful neighborhood with a lot of places, easy to get in. And if you don't mind, Christina, I will send you the link so you can share with people how to get registered for the classes.
Absolutely. All links will be included, including the book that we just talked about, guys. But out of curiosity, can you tell me a little bit about like what are some general things that are going to be covered in those 2 days?
Yes, the first day, this is the booklet. So it's a classroom environment. We have slides. So this is the book everybody's getting and the slides. Everybody's making a lot of notes because a lot of information, it's all about us. It's about how we build inside. It's all about how we react. But the information is very engineered, very scientifically put together. So lots of people do a lot of notes. So the first, you cannot see from here, but the first course, the first day called Clarity. Okay. Clarity means I tell people, like I already started telling to you today, what is emotion? This is energies. They don't belong to the physical body. They belong to the vital body, which is inside the physical body. The physical body is tangible. We can see it. The vital body, we cannot see, but we can feel it. Because when I ask you, do you have emotions, Christina?
I mean, I would say yes.
Yes. But if I ask you, how do you know you have emotions?
Feel them.
Yes,
That's kind
you
of what I would
feel
say.
them.
Yeah.
Do you have thoughts? Do you have bad thoughts?
Oh, absolutely.
How do you know that?
I guess I could kind of like hear them or read them in my mind.
So this is another, it's a vital, are thoughts and emotions the same?
No.
How do you distinguish? Definitely, it's like easy not to get confused. This is the negative thoughts, this is the negative emotions, right?
Yeah, I guess I'd say, like, even when we're saying it now, I immediately, like, my thought, I immediately go to my head and my mind. And when I say feeling or whatever is going on, I immediately go to my arms want to go to my heart or my stomach, like it's in my actual body.
So I already started teaching you the clarity. So the clarity is how we build inside, what is inside us beside physical body, and distinguish between physical body, emotional body, and mental body. So now you already, and you never ask yourself a question, are the thoughts the same as emotion, right?
No, not really.
And you never ask yourself a question, why? Everybody knows the thoughts are not the same as emotions. No one asked that. I'm asking, and I will explain why they're not the same, because it's different anatomy inside of us. So the first course is about clarity. The second day is about emotions, because the second day we only focus on the vital body. What is emotion? Yeah, I already said it's energy. And the most important question, how do we have the emotions? How do we have certain emotions and we get reactive towards certain triggers? But we learn it from others, from childhood. I will explain more.
Yeah, it sounds like I know there's so much to this. I totally know, but I wanted to have you on just to at least kind of get this topic going, because I'm anybody that listens and has been following, I do have a spiritual practice. I'm definitely, very fond of, and I'm very much myself, somebody who just keeps wanting to learn and grow and expand. And I think, having OCD myself, and obviously that's my practice and kind of the audience, but, I do have people who reach out and kind of ask me those questions. Well, how do I know if, it's OCD versus if it's actually a connection to something more broader or outside of myself, or spiritual development and so on. So, I mean, that's why I was really looking forward to have you on here and have folks kind of listen and kind of get at least an introduction from this perspective. There's of course many perspectives out there in the world, but I think this one, it sounded very interesting because it seems like there's very tangible things that people can actually do, hence practical consciousness, and really expand and grow and so on. Awesome. So I will include everything in the show notes, links, how people can reach you, class information, the book you mentioned. I want to just thank you so much for coming on and taking the time to be with us here today.
Thank you, Christina. If your listeners have more questions, I would be happy if you invite me again and we can continue conversation.
Absolutely.
Happy to be back.